So this is what I am generally intending to cover. These first three is more related to the BI architecture and some of the concepts related to the multi-dimensional model. So are you aware of that? The dimension modeling?
Yeah, little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because what is going to happen is that any BI tool, there are generally two types of what we call interfaces or components. One is a modeling tool and other is the report creation tool. So before, have you worked with any reporting tool, not BI, but general reporting like this report or something?
I have some knowledge now. I generated some reporting using Pentao too.
Okay. So generally in any reporting tool, whether it's BI or normal, what you do is you work with something called model. Okay, which is an abstraction of your schema. You don't create a report directly out of the schema, you create reports out of the model, and then there has to be some mechanism to create that model itself. So there are generally two types of components in any platform, BI platform. The model where you create the multi-dimensional model, and the other part is creation of reports, dashboards, and all other things which are actually the presentation of the data. So but for actually creating the model, you need a little understanding of the dimensional model itself. So you don't need to know thoroughly at the physical schema level, but you need to know the logical schema in terms of dimensions, hierarchies, star, etc. So that is, there will be a quick review on that. Then we'll look into different types of reports, which is again very common to all BI platforms. And then some of the reporting features which are generally provided in any BI platform. Those are called slice, dice, filter, aggregate, roll up, drill down, etc. We'll get introduced to these features at a generic level. And then of course when we get into Microstrategy, we'll implement these features in the report itself. Okay, then this is next set where we get into architecture of the Microstrategy tool itself. Or are different interfaces, and then Microstrategy, Pentaho, probably you know that it has got its own metadata. In fact, any tool has got its own metadata. So Microstrategy also has got its own metadata, and there is a different terminology which is used in that metadata. So we'll get into that. Then I'll actually help you install. The installation doesn't take much time, but you will have to download, because download itself is I think a couple of GBs. So you have to download it and then we'll install, and then I'll show you how to use that. The only thing is that even though it is a free 1-month trial, Microstrategy installation has to be registered with Microstrategy. So I'll show how to do that, but unlike other free versions, they want people to register even though it is a free version. Then we'll get into Microstrategy. When you install Microstrategy, it installs a sample database along with sample model and schema. So we'll look into that. It's a typical retail sales model. We'll look into that, and then we'll start getting into the individual components. So this particular thing, Microstrategy desktop, this is particularly a report creation tool, okay, through which you have got 3 interfaces actually within that also. Since again you know Pentaho, you also know that in any enterprise tool, generally there are 3 roles. One is a model developer, one is a report author, and third is the administrator. So corresponding to these 3 roles, there are 3 tools. So this is the only report creation tool, this is model creation, and this is administration. So administration will not get too much into that, but we will focus on this part, report creation, and then once we are done, we will also give some time to how to create models.
This reporting is designer tool, something like that.
Yeah. So this is that desktop designer tool where you actually churn out reports. Means you create the report definitions out of the model. Okay.
Right. And the architecture is like
pardon? This is like
dashboard, right? Dashboard?
You create reports and dashboard using this tool. Okay. But
And
for that,
admin wavelength something, right?
admin is regarding more of infrastructure admin, plus like you have to create database connections, then you have to set the security.
Users and roles, right?
Yeah, role security and all that stuff. So this is more in admin. Actually, there are again two parts. One is infrastructure admin, other is the application admin. So infrastructure admin is related to creation of security roles, groups, and then giving permissions to reports, etc. Whereas infra admin is more of a database connection, then moving data from one environment to other, that kind of stuff, migrating applications, etc. For example, from test to dev to production, etc. So that is admin. So that part is generally not required because that is a separate course actually, administration. So we'll focus on reporting, where we create reports, dashboards, then we actually do all these things, aggregates, then sums, subtotals, drill down, slice and dice, etc. Filtering, conditional filtering, creation of graphs, different types, all that is covered in the reports. Okay. Yeah, and there is, all this is like, within this reporting there are different tools. There's a report editor, tabular editor, filter editor. So we'll get into that. Do you know the concept of filter or prompt? So these are all the subcomponents of any typical report. So we'll get into that. And then these typically the Microstrategy calls them data manipulators and style manipulators. So all the typical features of a multi-dimensional OLAP, that is drilling, page by pivoting, outline. So we'll implement these features on different reports. And then there are some styling related features like whatever means. This is a little different compared to other tools. They have got some style objects which can be defined, thresholding, custom banding, all that stuff. So this part is more related to report creation and some features on that report. Then we'll get into these three specific objects: filters, metrics, and prompts. So these objects are used for providing additional functionality to your current reporting environment. Filtering is like selecting what you want to see, and then doing that at runtime is prompts. For example, you have got 10 years data and you want to only look at this year and last year. So that is called filtering. And then you already know what is fact and metric as far as multidimensional model is concerned. So actually you can do a lot of other things, creation of aggregate facts and creation of computed facts, etc. in Microstrategy. So that we'll look at. Then Microstrategy has got a specific we call feature called OLAP services, where you can create your MOLAP cubes. I don't know if you are aware of MOLAP versus OLAP and all that stuff. These MOLAP cubes can be created using Microstrategy. Then it will be more Microstrategy security, that is very basic introduction to user group security. So this is about scheduling the reports. If you want to schedule reports at a specific time or based on specific event, there are certain mechanisms. And this is more of a model creation these days, where you create model based on your own schema. So you can take either the sample database which is given, or we can use some other star schema and create model on top of it. So for all these exercises, we'll use the model which is given by Microstrategy as a sample model, whereas here we create our own model. Okay, so that's the overall flow of this training. Generally, I don't know, it's depending on how we do, how many practicals we do, can take between 15 to 20 hours. Okay. So again, like these are some slides which I generally use in my corporate presentation. So don't want to like explain this being a very specific training. generally people are very interested in knowing why we are doing BI and what is the exact benefit of it. So I have created these slides. So probably you know Gartner. Yeah, you know Gartner, company called Gartner.
Partner, yeah, little bit, not that.
Yeah. So this is actually what we call software product evaluation and auditing kind of a company. World's biggest company, and they conduct these surveys of in different technology domains. And then when they conducted this survey for BI platforms or BI tools, this is the result of the last year's survey. And I'm not going to analyze the figures, but just looking at this slide, you can find out that BI is a big thing in all the software industry. People generally know that there is mobile and cloud and etc. But people don't know that BI is the top technology, which is being used by all the CIOs these days. So, and then it's not only used, generally again the misconception is that it is used for marketing, sales, or in general financial analysis. Now there is a widespread usage across multiple domains, multiple industry types, and not only that, Gartner is saying it was big in 2013, they are now predicting that at least till 2017 this is going to be the top technology. Okay. Generally, when we start learning anything, we define that thing. So, and then definition is about what. So before and then, but I think that before getting into what, it is important to know why. So this slide talks about that, why we really need a business intelligence. This is one of the apt things which I have come across. Is the right information made available to right people at the right time. And then as probably you know, since you are into BI, this is about better decision making based on facts, etc. etc. Again, from technological perspective, there is a definition of BI. BI is not a tool or a technology, it's actually a paradigm. It's a set of tools, technologies, best practices, which actually convert this raw data into actionable information. And then this information can be used for decision making. So now, just looking at this, this is the other slide and then come back to these great ones. Yeah, so you probably have seen this particular thing. You know this data flow architecture of a typical BI or data warehouse, right?
Yeah.
You have data in different operational systems. Then through ETL, you transform that data into like whatever data warehouse, data mart. But this is basically a data which is structured in a different way. A multi-dimensional model is just a type of model which is a denormalized data out of your 3NF operational data. But other than that, there are lots of other techniques which are used at this level for boosting the query performance. For example, using aggregate tables, using computed facts, then having storing data at multiple grains. All this is done at this level. And then you create the business intelligence reports out of that. Then it's not that you only create business intelligence report, you can also create the typical enterprise reports. So this is the data flow architecture or BI architecture as it is called. Now, sometimes people say that this is data warehousing, sometimes people say this is business intelligence. There are different names, but I don't want to get into terminology because people also say this is data warehouse, this is data mart, etc. Generally, I define this part as a business intelligence and this as a data warehousing. Okay, so getting the data from operational sources through ETL and putting it into data warehouse is data warehousing. Getting the data out of data warehouse, there will be a platform in between. There is one more picture which actually depicts that. So you have got operational systems, ETL, data warehouse, and above that there are actually two layers: BI platform and BI package applications.
So what is
Microstrategy
application?
Yeah. So coming to that, so this BI platform is the platform like Microstrategy or Pentaho, where you create the reports. But packaged BI application is more of a what do you call, if you are into a specific domain, so banking or insurance, then there are typical reporting needs. So for that you create a set of models and set of reports. So that is called package BI application. I don't know if you have heard of OBIA, Oracle Business Intelligence Applications.
I didn't work on this.
Yeah, that is fine. But OBIEE, which is a tool from Oracle, that is a BI platform, whereas OBIA is a packaged application. So generally you need a platform to create this. So whatever we actually are going to do means we are going to create some sample reports based on some sample schema. That itself is a BI application. So in simplistic word, a BI application is a bunch of models and bunch of reports. Okay, and then generally that corresponds to a specific domain, whether it's manufacturing or banking or whatever. So that is, there is nothing great about that. Some companies have now started selling these packaged BI applications, but generally these are developed as per the needs. Whereas these are standard what you call platforms on top of which this is developed. So this is a means of getting this. Okay, so that is about BI, what converting raw data into meaningful information. So this conversion is done through basically two phases. One is ETL and other is the conversion to other formats through BI platform. Then there is how. This is what I was explaining. So there is ETL DW phase, getting data out of operational systems and consolidating, and then this is the BI platform. So this is ETL and this is BI platform. Now the main thing about these two is in between lies the multidimensional model. So on one side you fill the multidimensional model through ETL, and here you get data out of the multidimensional model using BI. So you need to know multidimensional model whether you are working in data warehouse or BI. Okay. This is regarding typical understanding of data versus information versus knowledge, which you probably know. And then OLAP or BI is in the middle there, and OLTP or the operational systems like ERP, etc., they are at the base level. Yeah, this is something which is very important as far as the BI is concerned. So generally all OLTP systems are systems which are developed, managed by IT. Whereas BI systems is BI itself is a bridge between business and IT. So IT organizations cannot or should not try to develop a BI system independently. That is, they should not work on it based on only their knowledge. They should always be connected with the business, and they should try to understand what is the business requirement, because entire thing is given by business requirement here. In fact, for any software system that's the case. But a lot of times once the requirements are clear, then IT can work on it. But in BI, there has to be a constant interaction between business and the IT to develop a BI system. Okay. You probably have seen the diagram somewhere else. So in any organization, there are typically three layers: operational, staff, middle management, or tactical management, and then the executive or strategic management. This diagram is pretty known to everybody who is working in IT or management. Now, how this maps to specific information needs, that is important. So at this layer, you typically have got some specific reporting needs. For example, I want to look at how many invoices were created yesterday, or what is the payment to be done today, or how many people in a specific department are present today. So these are all operational reports where you are looking at some simple specific queries. If you look at these reports from a technical standpoint, these are simple select queries. Select some columns from a table and probably there is some where clause. So the queries run at very fast speed at this layer, operational layer, because there is no computation involved and there are no complexities involved. The data which is selected at this level is very small, like you get few 100 rows or maybe a little more than that, but generally the data involved is not more while querying this. Now I'll try to plug these two layers together into something called management. So management typically wants a different type of reports, and this type of report is called ad hoc reporting. So if you take example of say manufacturing, then you want to decide what kind of production you want to do in the next quarter. Whether you want to increase the production of a particular product, decrease the production of some other product. So this is this kind of decision making, and then there are lots of what if scenarios which are possible. You decrease production at one plant, reduce at other, or you add some capacity. So these all what if scenarios need to be evaluated to come to the right decision. So generally management looks at a series of reports, and that series of reports is in ad hoc fashion. For example, GM or VP, he might ask that, okay, what are my top 2 best selling products? Then we probably will ask where the same product selling same in the previous quarter. Then you can ask, okay, what is the trend across different dealers? So all these questions are ad hoc questions. When by ad hoc is these managers, they don't have any specific sequence of asking these questions in mind. They just keep on asking based on their thought trend. So this is the difference between the operational reports and the management reports. Operational people, they want some specific queries to be answered, whereas management people, they want some ad hoc queries to be answered. This is the functional characteristic of those reports. Download it. I'll give you the link and which file to which version to download, etc. But before download, you have to register with the Microstrategy with your email. Okay. So they send you a link and a license key, etc. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and for that you have to use a email which is a non-public domain, like Gmail and Yahoo won't do. You will have to use a business domain email.
Yeah, I have different.
Yeah.